Is there anything more fun and potentially more frustrating than a time travel story? It's one of the great plot devices in literature and film, but a difficult minefield to navigate. Can an author or filmmaker create something clever, intriguing, and satisfying, all while avoiding paradoxes and plot holes that slowly drive us crazy the more we think about them? What follows is my list, ranked from 10 to 1, of the best time travel films of all time, with a brief explanation for why I believe each belongs where it does. I'd love to hear from you and whether you agree or disagree, and why. The best of the flat-out comedies in the time travel realm, the movie, as famed critic Roger Ebert wrote in his review of it, succeeds far beyond what it suggested and the admittedly silly title. A surprise 2010 hit that had enough legs to spawn a sequel, it works not because it breaks new ground in the genre, but because it has memorable characters who are laugh-out-loud funny, including John Cusack, Craig Robinson, Rob Corddry, Crispin Glover, and Chevy Chase. How many of us wouldn't like to go back and become our younger selves with the knowledge we have now? And who wouldn't be frustrated by having to make sure we make the same mistakes? The most romantic of time travel movies, it stars Christopher Reeve as a playwright who was given a watch and the plea, "Come back to me," by an elderly woman after the debut of his latest play. After impulsively checking into a picturesque hotel while experiencing writer's block, he becomes obsessed with an old photograph of a beautiful actress that he soon realizes is the same woman who gave him the watch. He wills himself back in time to meet and court her, sparking a love story that spans the barriers of time. Although it received mediocre reviews and was a very modest box office success, the movie has become a cult classic largely because of the chemistry between Reeve and Jane Seymour. Ignore the plot holes. The romantic in you will appreciate it. It's one of the great premises in the genre. What if a modern nuclear-powered aircraft carrier was at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941? Would the crew be obligated to intervene, or must they let history play itself out to avoid a potentially catastrophic domino effect? This is the decision facing Kirk Douglas's Captain Matthew Yelland when the USS Nimitz goes through a kind of vortex at sea and travels 39 years into the past. After encountering a captured Japanese pilot and an American politician and his aide off the Hawaiian coast, Douglas reluctantly agrees to send modern warplanes to intervene, but the vortex returns, allowing the attack that brings the United States into World War II. One of the interesting twists is James Ferrantino's Navy commander character inadvertently remaining in 1941 and meeting the ship upon its reappearance in 1980, when his crewmates are just hours older, but he is 4 decades older. The synopsis sounds absolutely ludicrous. Author H.G. Wells not only writes a novel about time travel, but invents a time machine himself, one that Jack the Ripper, a friend of Wells, uses to travel to modern San Francisco to escape being apprehended in Victorian London. There's no way it should work. Yet Meyer, who also wrote the script from a then unfinished novel by Carl Alexander, turns it into a compelling thriller, as Wells follows David Warner's serial killer into the future so that he can catch him. The twist here is that Malcolm McDowell's Wells falls in love and forms a relationship with Mary Steenburgen, whom he meets at a bank when he exchanges his anachronistic British currency for American dollars. The best advice is to turn off your brain, sit back, and enjoy the ride. After a problematic first version of the script was submitted, producers turned to the writer-director of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Nicholas Meyer, who turned it into something familiar, a time travel movie set in San Francisco 7 years after time. Why does the crew of the USS Enterprise need to return to 1980s Earth? Because the planet is threatened by a space probe seeking out humpback whales, which are extinct in the future. Kirk, Spock, and company need to find animals that can answer the call and save the day. It's by far the funniest movie in the franchise, and it evokes the feeling of the original television series. It's all a bit silly, but a lot of fun, with an environmental message at the core. What if you were a contract assassin from the future, hired to go back in time to eliminate yourself? That is the ingenious idea at the heart of Rian Johnson's thriller. Because surveillance and tracking systems are so efficient and ubiquitous in the future, it is impossible for crime organizations to carry out hits without being caught, so they simply take care of enemies by traveling to the past. The assassins, dubbed loopers, must eventually be eliminated, and what better way to do it than by sending them back to target themselves? When Joseph Gordon-Levitt fails to kill the older version of himself played by Bruce Willis, chaos ensues and provides us with a roller coaster ride. With Gilliam, the only American member of Monty Python, at the helm, it shouldn't come as a surprise that this movie is strange, surreal, and features the weirdest performance of Brad Pitt's career. It stars Bruce Willis as a convict sent back in time to investigate the origins of a virus that had wiped out most of humanity. After arriving in the past, Willis is sent to a mental asylum where he encounters a fast-talking patient played by Pitt, whose doctor father may have connections to the virus. Willis goes back and forth between the future and the past multiple times, encounters a variety of characters, and the audience and Willis himself are left wondering what is real, what is imagined, and who is actually crazy. It's worth seeing to watch Pitt earn his first Oscar nomination. Okay, this is a bit of a cheat. Charlton Heston and his fellow astronauts technically experienced time dilation and not time travel in this classic film, but the ending is too good to pass up. Because of the speed of their spacecraft, they emerge from a kind of hibernation 2,000 years in the future as they crash on what they presume to be another world. After briefly exploring the surface, they encounter what seem to be humans, chased by talking apes. Heston ends up the only astronaut alive by the film's end when he takes a companion on horseback to meet, as Dr. Zayas puts it, his destiny. The reveal on the beach may be the greatest ending in cinema history. The best of the straightforward, serious time travel movies, and how could you separate one from the other? In the original, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a cyborg sent to the past to eliminate the future leader of humanity's resistance by preventing him from ever being born. Linda Hamilton plays the mother of the future John Connor, and she is protected by time-traveling soldier Michael Biehn. In the sequel, Cameron ingeniously makes Schwarzenegger's replacement cyborg the hero, sent back to protect Sarah and teenage John from an even deadlier model of Terminator. Action movies don't get any better. The best the genre has to offer, as Zemeckis and co-writer Bob Gale create a perfect script that blends action and humor and provides a masterclass in foreshadowing. Michael J. Fox is pitch perfect as a high schooler inadvertently sent 30 years back in time by Christopher Lloyd's nutty scientist. Fox meets his parents, an act that endangers his very existence unless he gets them to fall in love at a school dance. Even then, Fox's Marty McFly must perfectly time his exit with a lightning strike, otherwise he'll never get back home. Not just the best of all time travel movies, it is among the greatest films of the past 40 years.